and start looking at the things where really we see the impact of research, or we see the expected impact. So the Innovation Awards has been now done 14 times, or this is the 14th edition of the EARTO's Innovation Awards. In the years that we have been doing, we have been, if I give a little bit of statistics here, we have received 335 applications in total in all these years from 54 different RTOs in 23 countries. And we have had 63 winners from 17 RTOs in 14 countries, so quite good coverage. And we give the Innovation Awards in two categories. We have the Impact Delivered category, which, as the name implies, there we have already visible impact on the market, and we have proof points that it works. And then Impact Expected category, where the idea is still very early but shows great promise. And this year we got 42 different applications, before we show the different applications, couple of things and one presentation. But firstly, we have been blessed always with good juries. So also this year we have had a good external jury then going through all these applications and doing evaluation. So Anna Panagopoulos from the Commission, Simon Evans from Innovate UK, Christian Ehler from the European Parliament, Jana Kolar from ESFRI, and then Juan Antonio Tebar from CDTI. So we can be extremely thankful for them on their work to evaluate. But before we go to the applications, we have a great honor of hearing from a true champion of European innovation. Christian Ehler, who's a member of the European Parliament, has promised to give a short presentation, so I'll hand over to Christian.
Thank you. So, dear Mr. Vasara, dear Muriel, ladies and gentlemen, as it is in Brussels, you know, before you get to the fun part, you have a politician. This is the 14th time EARTO is putting a small selection of innovations of RTOs in the spotlight. And I don't, looking to my gray hair, I don't even want to remember how long I have the privilege to sit on that selection board. But I'm every time, first of all, honored, but secondly, really impressed what we see as candidates. So the selection obviously must be a selection, but it's really every time, every year, very impressive what had been brought forward as just candidates. I have the honor to be part of that jury, and I might reflect it a little bit later, but as you might have expected, if you asked a politician to give a speech on a prize, he might not start with that. He might reflect a little bit politics. So before we turn to the ceremony and announce this year's winners, allow me a short reflection on the state of innovation in Europe and the role of RTOs in Europe. You might have seen the European Commission recently published a new European Innovation Agenda. I mean, big headline. And the agenda highlights that Europe has an opportunity to improve its competitiveness in the future by becoming a leader in deep tech innovation. And obviously, me then being one of the rapporteurs of the Parliament and the coordinator in the ITRE committee for a long time, we welcome this focus because I truly believe this is where European strength lies. The agenda focus on the whole series of initiatives, including 6 headlines. We never do it without headlines. Access to the finance for startups, smart regulation to foster innovation, supporting innovative ecosystem organizers, fostering and educating talent in Europe, and improving policy for deep tech startups. And while these address pressing issues, it's important to remember why deep tech is European strength, and I would like to reflect a little bit the overall political situation before I come to this strength, which relies on the deep embeddedness of knowledge and technology in the European nexus of science and industry. I think, and that is what I would like to address you and make you join the effort also politically to contribute to the discussion right now, is simply the fact it's fine to have a European innovation agenda. But I have to bluntly say, as long we are not going to substantially integrate the question of the innovation principle in regulation in Europe, we're going to fail. This is good to have. It's a nice new horse riding through the European RNA environment. But we should talk, what's the beef? And I mean, why are we here and why you are so relevant? And Muriel's, you know her voice, but it's not just loud, but it's also impressive in political terms. Why it's so relevant what we are talking about in general, about the role of RTOs and the role of innovation, is that we are upfront almost, I would say disruptive, even not transformative changes in the European society. I mean, if you look a little bit closer to what we are now rolling out in terms of Fit for 55, in these days, yet another building directive, then we go to air pollution and whatsoever. I mean, what we see is that the Green Deal delivers on the green. And I don't want to emphasize on the question yes or no, we have to deliver on the 55 goals, that is undisputable. But it's interesting to see that for the first time, one after the other impact assessment on this regulation is sacked. And it is simply sacked by the question that impact assessments would ask for the question how to do. And a lot of explanations the Commission, but politics in general, I don't want to blame just the Commission in these days, is simply that we refer to you. We refer to the potential of innovation, we refer to our instruments, we refer to, the unforeseeable future. But what we are completely lacking is an idea, a structure, a funding, an embedded and integrated idea of the innovation principle in that kind of regulation. And to give you an example, we thought in parallel we would do the regulation for Fit for 55, and then we would come up with these 16, 17 ecosystems the Commission had been rightly defining instead of just referring to industrial sectors. But in each of them, the idea was there would be an innovation pathway, which would somehow indicate also, or giving planks for what we're going to do, how to implement, how to transfer that on the specificities of industrial sectors, how to transfer that to the specificities of the innovation potential or the innovation need in these specific sectors. And that never happened. So now we have another scheme. But I think what's important to understand is that, in a way, we're in a very, very pressing situation. Basically, if we want to deliver 2030, the next 2 or 3 years, industry has really to invest, because you're not going to see that on industrial sites, this kind of changes. I mean, just simple the question, if you take in the chemical industry carbon out of combustion processes and substitute that by hydrogen, that sounds plausible. But this is an innovation agenda you would have to define. I mean, that literally in a lot of these sectors, we hardly know how to do. And that is not linked together. We have funding, we have a research program, we have ambitions in terms of regulation, we now develop a new European innovation agenda. But what is the integrated approach? How do you fund that? What kind of idea how do you formulate missions? I mean, we define the missions in the most broadest sense. We want to clean the oceans. I mean, basically the Pacific oceans, they don't care so much what the Europeans doing from plastic. But we don't have a mission in specific industrial ecosystems how to reach 2030. And without you, industry is not going to make it, because the question of basic research related then to 30 and 40 is also open. But what we know now is that for the next 5 years, if industry can't rely on you, we are not going to see our ambitions in 2030. Having said that, and still addressing and asking for your help, I mean, we have a dramatic disconnection, and I say that openly, a dramatic disconnection between what is brought forward by the science ministers and research ministers in Europe, and what is the political reality in Europe. I've never seen, I'm doing that for almost 20 years, I've never seen that in the annual budget procedure. And I don't want to threaten you. It's a very political attitude to create a monster and then saying, but we are going to save you from the monster. But we should be aware, I mean, we are confronted for the first time that this year in the annual budget, over 30% of the cuts which had been brought forward by the Council are about Horizon. I mean, I think 43 or 44% of the cuts which had been announced by the Council is out of Horizon. And if you take a nail and puncture a telephone book, you get the logic of what had been cut. I mean, if you get it to an intern and you ask him in half an hour to cut Horizon, you know, you would have a better result than the proposal from the Commission. There is no red line. There's no balancing between basic research, higher, lower TRL levels, all what you had been referring to. It is practically taking out of nothing. So, I mean, we should be aware that on the one hand, you had been asked that you are the hope for the innovation processes needed to achieve 2030, but at the same time, you know, the Council is cutting exactly that kind of budget. And we need that European perspective because we might have a lot of innovation programs in member states, and we have strong organizations as you're all representing in the member states. But if there is no European, I mean, we are talking about European regulation, there is no solution for the chemical industry in the Netherlands or in Germany. There is either a European way to go, and then obviously to split after a certain TRL level. But if there is not a common approach, we are going to fail because some member states are simply not able to do that. They will be dependent on other member states' RTOs to deliver on that agenda, because otherwise their industry is not able to deliver on the 2030 agenda. So, having said that, I just would like to appeal you, and I would like to join you, make you, ask you for a joint effort together with the Parliament. This had been a ritual. It had been a ritual where the Parliament become an unsung hero practically every year because the Council was cutting and we were establishing the budget, and then the Parliament could say, you know, we saved your ass. Sorry to say that so bluntly, but I'm using sometimes quotes from Muriel. So, but that is heroism for free. I mean, nothing happened. You know, we re-established simply the budget of what had been given and what hadn't been enough. So what's really of utmost importance is that we bring forward the argument that is not for the abstract sake of the existence of RTOs or higher RTL levels or a specific kind of programs, instruments or whatsoever. Without the link between the RTOs and the European industry, all the regulatory efforts we are now undertaking and the 2030 goals are not achievable. And that is what we are talking about, and not the specific sector and the specific interest of different stakeholders of the research community. We're talking whether that's going to work or not. And that's, I think, so pressing that we should bring that forward beyond this kind of idea of after the times of enlightenment, we thought it somehow given that a society is contributing money to research and innovation. I mean, either we do, and we concentrate our efforts, or we fail jointly. And I think that is something very important. So, having created now the disaster, I'm, on the other hand, positive that that narrative gives us a leverage, because it becomes more and more clear how dependent politics become on innovation and exactly on the existence of institutions like you. Because that link, as I said, between industry and you, and the given shortage of time, that is, you can't substitute that by everything. It's really that we really should go out and say, we don't want to have money for research and innovation. We want to have money that this is going to work, because otherwise the political agenda of Europe is up to fail, simply put. Okay, and I think I see that as a chance, not just for the annual budget negotiations, where you have the Parliament definitely and me behind you, but I see that also as a chance for a more broader discussion. But I would like to ask you that you force nationally your research minister to regain a saying in the European discussion. It can't be that it's completely disconnected what the research working council is reflecting, and then what's the reality of budget negotiations. If you get cut by 44% by the budget authority of the council, somehow you could consider that research policy is not the priority in the budget consideration. And I think we have to draw that lesson, and we have to get the research ministers back in the boat of the discussion, and not to leave it to a budget process, which is then fairly a strange kind of compromise between things which have nothing to do with the subject. So, coming back to the prize, I think what we all know is that Europe has this unique density of excellent engineering companies. What connects them is technology and knowledge, and this connection is Europe's fundamental strength. While all the policy initiatives build on this connection, we should never lose sight of the fundamental role of RTOs. I think the RTOs are the secret weapon to maintain this fundamental. Earlier today, EARTO presented a review of the impact of RTOs, and this report shows the immediate economic impact of RTOs. It shows that they have a significant economic footprint. It shows that RTOs have a positive effect on the growth and development of companies. It clearly shows that RTOs make important contributions to our societal challenges. And it still underestimates the importance of RTOs. While it's hard to put in numbers, I believe the most crucial role of RTOs is to be anchors for the European innovation ecosystem. And RTOs play a systemic role to facilitate the circulation of knowledge and retention of knowledge for the economy and society. Take a look, and then I really come back, and I promised in the beginning, take a look on the nominated innovations, and in this case, ENERATEC. This unique technology has been developed by several different European collaborations spanning almost 2 decades. This nomination is now put forward by HELMHOLTZ. Don't see that as me wearing the German helmet, putting that as an example, but it's by HELMHOLTZ, but VTT, DLR, and Karlsruhe Institute of Technology have provided knowledge without which the technology would never have been fully developed. And this knowledge remained available in these organizations to be reused in other projects as well. This means that all the innovation we got presented today give us only a small insight of the impact of knowledge in RTOs. All this knowledge is available for the European innovation ecosystems to create more value. It is this kind of scientific knowledge circulation which will fuel deep tech innovations in Europe. Just this circulation is not enough, of course, but it is a fundamental asset for Europe, and RTOs play a crucial role in it. That is why I am always honored to be part of the jury of the EARTO Innovation Awards, and that is why I'm happy to address you now in this ceremony. European innovation collaboration is an untold success story for the European Union, and we should tell it. And these kind of initiatives is one way to tell the story, and I'm grateful that EARTO is going to do that. So let's have a look to these wonderful European innovation stories, find out which will receive the well-deserved award today. And let me, yet again, also in the sense of EARTO and the ones representing EARTO here in Brussels, I mean, to spend a day here, to make the effort, to pay, it is crucial, because what had been said before in terms of the midterm review and the design of the new program and the agenda setting. I had been the pleasure to co-host just recently a joint effort of the research stakeholders on the midterm review. And we had a round of comments on that. And I mean, if I might say it, I mean, it was Muriel presenting what RTOs and the EARTO had been presenting. And then there was silence in the room because the others structurally were not able to. And we should be aware that you should play a crucial role for that discussion, because the universities and the variety of a university organization have a hard time really structurally contribute to that very, very complex discussion. So yet again, I would like to salute the role of RTOs. Yet again, the Parliament would like to salute the role of EARTO in the political terms. But today we are going to salute these brilliant examples of your work, and I'm very grateful that you allowed me to give the introduction speech. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ehler, for those words, both in terms of encouraging us to continue what we're doing, but also then understand that how we must make our voice all the time even better heard. But now it's time for the fun stuff now. So impact delivered is the first category, and we have prepared for the finalists short videos that introduce them. So roll the video, please.
We are heavily dependent on fossil oil, causing massive CO2 emissions each day. As a society, we've decided to move towards a CO2 neutral world with fewer emissions. ENERATEC provides modular chemical plants and supplies sustainable e-fuels and chemicals. Hydrogen from renewable electricity and greenhouse gases like CO2 are converted into e-kerosene, CO2 neutral gasoline or clean diesel. They're fully compatible with global infrastructure and vehicle fleet. The innovative reactors, invented by EARTO member HELMHOLTZ, provide a high load flexibility as well as quick startup and shutdown times. Therefore, the plants are perfectly suitable for fluctuating renewable energy applications, for example, wind or solar. ENERATEC actively contributes to a more sustainable future with lower emissions. In recent years, 3D printing has developed rapidly. However, many 3D printing processes are too expensive and too slow for industry. Therefore, R&D activities focus on producing large quantities in a short time at competitive costs. EARTO member Fraunhofer Gesellschaft Institute for Machine Tools and Forming Technology has developed the SEAM, Screw Extrusion Additive Manufacturing 3D process. By using the SEAM, the cost-effectively and resource-efficiently production of large-size, load-bearing plastic components is possible. The SEAM 3D printing process is 8 times faster and 200 times lower in cost than conventional manufacturing processes. SEAM opens up completely new fields of application for 3D printing, for example in aircraft or railway industries. When the use of digital services grows, the needs for data centers hosting the server running digital services increase. The operations of data centers use energy for running the servers and the energy system equipment, such as coolers. The target of this innovation is to achieve the same amount of digital services with less energy. The challenge for energy efficiency in data centers is to overcome the operation silos. EARTO member, RISE, developed this innovation to enable holistic control of the cooling. The pilot implementation project of the solution in a data center achieved a record low power usage effectiveness. That translates into large savings, 10 to 50 times in energy use, also implying large economical savings.
I would assume that the job of the jury has been difficult to find a winner out of these fantastic candidates, but still they had to choose one. And the winner in the impact delivered category is Helmholtz Association INERATEC with e-fuels made by INERATEC. We have Tim Boken from the CEO of INERATEC.
So much for this award. So we at INERATEC, we consider ourselves as one of the pioneers in this e-fuel business, and especially my INERATECies, so my team in Karlsruhe and me, we are extremely proud to receive this Impact Delivered Award. We thank Helmholtz, of course, but also our pilot customers, where we can also count VTT and RISE as our customers. So we see there's a lot of innovation potential also going on in the Nordics. And I think this award now gives us a lot of motivation now to continue our work on our now industrial pilot projects we are working on, and to deliver an even bigger impact to the climate than we do now. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Without further ado, let's move then to the impact expected category, where we also have three very interesting candidates. So roll the video of intros, please.
Currently, 6 to 8% of the global CO2 emissions originate from the concrete industry. Due to accelerating urbanization, the share is anticipated to rise drastically. An irreplaceable component of concrete is cement, which is also mainly responsible for high CO2 emissions. EARTO member VTT has developed a technology to reuse CO2 in the precast concrete industry. The technology transforms gaseous CO2 into solid carbonates at the concrete hardening process, decreasing the carbon footprint of the products. In addition, it also improves the economic and resource efficiency of the production process. The total anticipated climate impact is an approximately 1.4 gigaton reduction of CO2 emissions. For comparison, the European Union produced 2.54 gigatons of CO2 emission in 2020. Maritime transport accounts for 13.5% of all greenhouse gas emissions from transport in the EU and 24% of nitrous oxide emissions. Furthermore, the economic lifetime of maritime propulsion and power generation systems is very long. Following regular replacement schemes is therefore not desired, as it slows down sustainability. The ZE-H2 ICE provides the solution to these important issues by retrofitting existing engines into near-zero-emission hydrogen engines, starting from an existing diesel or gas engine and introducing dedicated hydrogen technology. The lifetime of an existing maritime engine is extended, while simultaneously completing the energy transition in an acceptable timeframe. The ZE-H2 ICE extends the lifetime of existing maritime propulsion systems, while fulfilling the sustainability goals on climate action and good health and well-being. hearing loss is a global health challenge, and the World Health Organization states that nearly 80% of people with hearing loss live in low and middle-income countries. Traditionally, hearing services are provided by specialists using expensive equipment, making the services inaccessible for most people in LMICs. EARTO member Sintef with its partners have developed an easy-to-use and cost-effective tool for community-based screening of children's hearing. The game-based tablet audiometry is utilizing the concept of gaming, commercially available tablets and headphones. The innovation enables the establishment of local hearing services, helping children with hearing loss to attend school and participate in the community, thus contributing to reduce poverty and supporting the United Nations strategy, Leave No One Behind.
And out of these three outstanding candidates, the winner this time is VTT with carbonate. And Tapio Vehmas, the senior scientist, the innovator, is here himself. Yes.
Thank you for this award. The Carbonate project has been a truly team effort, and I would like to thank all VTTers who has participated to this project. And I would like to specially thank all our industry members who has guided our work and projects during the development of Carbonate. With their advices, we have been able to develop a technology that will have a global impact in the future. With Carbonate, we can turn concrete into a carbon sink. Thank you.
I feel obliged to say that I was not part of the jury, so. But also congratulations to all the other candidates who were participating, all the 42 applications. We feel really proud about the results that our fellow RTOs have been producing, so it feels great to be part of this kind of community. But this draws then to conclusion our both our policy event and the Innovation Award. As the last thing, I want to remind you that the next big EARTO event where we will be physically present will be our annual meeting 23, which will be next year held in Bolzano in Italy. And I hope to see you as many as possible there at the end of March. So look forward to that. And now thank you for the people who have been online following the event, and for all of us here present in Brussels. Then we have lunch waiting for us, so hopefully you can stay for that. Thank you all.